Welcome to the Christian Indie Writers Podcast, where we inform, encourage, and support Christian indie writers on the journey toward publication. I am Rhonda Hagerman, and I write fiction and nonfiction.
I'm Jennifer Carltong, and I write historical Christian romance.
I'm Jamie Hirschberger. I write short fiction under the pen name J.R. Nichols.
Well, thank you everybody for coming in. We look like we're missing somebody, but she's in the background. Hopefully she'll be able to come in. Flint is having a internet problem. I was part of that for a little while, but thankfully mine's come back. So hopefully we'll see Tina any second because she has a big chunk of our show today.
Yeah, could Michigan have any more problems right now? I mean, you guys have flooding and fires. I'm like, watch out for the locusts next. What is going on up there? My word. So now internet trouble. Sorry, guys. That's terrible.
I had a sweet message from Gigi this week, just checking in to see if my family was fine. And I'm like, we're good. And then I realized why she was messaging. I'm like, oh, I know I live in mid-Michigan, but I'm not in northern mid-Michigan. We're like kind of probably the southern part of what people consider mid-Michigan. We're like just above Metro Detroit, wouldn't you guys say, kind of?
Yeah.
Like, because the Lapeer is considered Metro Detroit, and that's right next door. So, and so I messaged her, told her we were all fine, and that Tina was fine, and then Rhonda was fine. So, yeah, we are about 40 minutes south of the flooding that's happening here in our state.
Yeah.
So hopefully she'll be able to join us.
Yep. Okay, so what's up with you guys? What's going on?
Well, go ahead, Jen.
No, I was going to go ahead. Okay, so my what's up is... I don't know why I didn't see you going, so I'm like, I'll just go. I gave up pop this week. I really don't know what my what's up is, which is a big deal. I am, and the ladies will agree with this, I am a cherry Coke Zero addict, and I know it's bad for me. So I'm on day 4 with no pop. So
tell everybody that recipe that you've been drinking.
Yeah. I saw somebody do this online. I thought, well, that sounds kind of good. And now I'm addicted to this. Now I know you can argue Crystal Light because I know that Crystal Light has some bad stuff in it. I'm looking for a version of Crystal Light that has stevia or monk fruit in it. So if anybody has a suggestion, put it in the comments, please, or message me. I'd love to know. But I take Crystal Light and you double the concentration. So for like 16 ounces, instead of one little packet, you would do 2 packets. And then you fill your glass with ice, and it should really be a Detroit Tigers or Detroit Lions cup. But if you don't have that, then I guess we'll let you use whatever glass you want. But you fill it half up, and then the other half you put in sparkling water. And I had plain sparkling water, the non-flavored kind, the non-sweetened kind. And I had some berry flavored, and I don't really like those by themselves, but I put them in there, and it tastes like way better than pop even. So I'm getting my water in. And I'm giving pop up at the same time, and I don't even miss it. So it's been really good. So
that's awesome.
Today is a fizzy raspberry lemonade.
Thank you for the demonstration sip. That just capped the whole thing. It was just like an infomercial or something. How does it taste, Jen?
All right. What's up with you, J.R. Nichols? Save me from this.
If we were planning, we could have had you like hold the drink to the side and me reach over. Oh, I would go this way, and take a sip. That would have been perfect. Oh, so yummy. Okay, that doesn't work. I'll tell you what's up with me is I am podcasting from a different room. You might be able to tell. My husband has moved my office, so now I can connect directly to my router. Hope this sounds still okay and everything like that. But more awesomely, this is a part of our house we've yet to be able to use. My husband installed an air conditioner, and so now we've got some more livable square footage. So he just keeps going. I mean, he's home, and there's no way I can make a honey-do list because he just checks it all off before it gets done. The man is crazy. I'm not complaining. But, yeah, it's been a real blessing to have him around to do all this kind of handyman stuff. So that's my what's up. What's up with you this week, Rhonda?
Well, my what's up is my mom and I have been writing a workbook, and I talked about this last week, and it's live. It went live first thing this morning.
Rhonda's officially published.
Yes.
Yay!
Yes. That's right.
Congratulations. Celebrate. There's my earworm, Rhonda. I've just been waiting for the right songs.
It's already working. Thank you.
Yeah. It's in my head now. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
So what I'm going to ask you to do is anybody who participates in the chat today, I want to send a free copy of this book because we need, well, originally I was saying beta readers, but now that it's actually published, you're going to be ARC readers. But we want you to behave like beta readers. We would like you to leave a review, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. And also just let us know how we can improve it. And we want you to know that this plotting notebook, it's not a how-to plot. You already need to have something in mind, like a hero's journey system or save the cat beat sheet or whatever. And this will help you organize all of your plotting steps.
Yeah, I've seen it. And basically what you want to think about it is tools to help you organize. It's kind of almost like if you go to the Container Store knowing that you have to organize shoes and hair clips. And then like Rhonda's plotting book is like going to the Container Store because the worksheet you need for character development is there. The worksheet you need for plotting is there. The worksheet you need to track all your research is there. It's just basically the tools to help you execute whatever plotting system you're already following. Is that about right, Rhonda? Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to get my hands on it. So you're saying you'll send it to them for nothing, but it sure would be great if they would leave you a review. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. So you're sending like a PDF or a Kindle? How are people going to be able to get this?
We are going to send the actual physical copy of the book. It's on Kindle right now. And what we're going to do is send basically a coupon code, and then you'll type that in, and then we will, approve it to be sent to you.
An actual physical book that you can hold?
Yes.
Okay. Wow. So since this will be live forever, this podcast, we should probably put an end date on that because you could be 72 and still having to ship out books to people that would see this. So
I think while we're live.
Oh, wait, that's right. You have to chat today.
While we're live. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
She's trying to nail our regulars, I'm pretty sure, is what she's trying to do. Because our chat group is the best. We talk about you guys all the time behind your backs, how wonderful you all are, how supportive you all are for one another. It's like
knowledgeable.
Yeah, you guys have grown a life of your own, and Rhonda and Barb just really want to say thank you for being such a great supportive community to one another. Yep. So there's really no strings attached. They just want to bless you. But if you would leave the review, reviews always help so much, writers. So thanks, Rhonda, for that. Now, how do they do that? Do they have to write to you and then you're going to confirm that they had chatted? What do you want them to do?
Well, if they will send a message on our Christian Indie Writers podcast Facebook page. Okay. Just send a private message with their information. I just got a note. I think actually what we're going to do is we're going to send the books out ourselves.
Okay.
So we're going to order a number of books today, and then when we receive them, we're going to mail them. So if they will put their shipping addresses in.
Well, how about if they send you and then you can contact them and they can send you privately the shipping address? That way they don't have to worry that Christian Indie Writers has their information.
Yeah. Because you never know what we will do with it.
Yeah. That's so great.
It'll just be payback for everybody that was getting my home address on old emails.
She's in South Africa. She's saying that she'll take a digital copy. Isn't that a blessing? But how nice of her to consider the shipping and all of that.
Yeah, definitely.
That's why we love everybody in our chat, right?
Yeah, so much congratulatory comments. Sage also wants to know if they're doing Snowflake, will this still help them? If they're doing
absolutely. Snowflake is my preferred method.
Yeah, I can't wait for you all to get your hands on this so you guys can see exactly what it is, because I haven't ever seen anything really like it. It's more just tools to help you organize yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's a really neat concept. So Jen, are you catching all the what's up?
I am.
Chatters.
Let's do that real quick. But before we get into the what's up of our chatters, Maria says, I didn't know Americans called it pop. I thought it was soda.
Oh,
pop
no, the big soda pop debate. No. Don't even. It depends where you live, Maria.
Only the cool people call it pop.
Oh.
And by that, I mean the people that live in Michigan. Maybe some people in Wisconsin. I'm not really for certain, but it's a Michigan. It's a very regional Michigan thing. So I forgot about that.
since we have no Bambina to tell her what's up, I'll tell you this little story. When I was a waitress, I took to saying soda because we did not serve Coca-Cola. We served like RJ's cola mix, and it was not Coke, okay? So when people would say, I'd be like, oh, would you like a water or a soda? They'd say, well, where are you from? But I didn't want to say pap because it just sounded, you know what I mean? Kind of like pap when I'm like trying to be fancy being a waitress. So I would say soda, and people would insist I was not from Michigan. I'm like, I think I know where I'm born, but Michigan people say pop. Anyway, that's my whole soda pop story.
The 6 years I lived in Boston kind of stripped me from my pop. I learned to say soda. It took me about 30 minutes of moving back to Michigan to get back into saying it the right
then
way.
you move down south and everything is a Coke. And
everything is, right?
Yeah. That's so confusing.
Exactly. Okay, so let's start with Jason. Jason says his what's up this week. I finished 5 chapters for my book, a little over 12,500 words. All right, if that isn't motivation for the rest of us.
I know, I'm shamed.
That is really great. Congratulations, Jason. Sage says, Mr. Sage is in hospital getting a blood transfusion. I am home alone for the first time since we got married. I have the dogs with me, though. Sage, I'm so sorry. I hope everything is okay.
Yeah, that's kind of rough because I know the anxiety of all of this quarantine stuff is bad enough. So prayers for Sage and Mr. Sage. And we'll keep you praying. And I hope, is Piper able to be with us this week? Do anybody see Piper with that she
I haven't yet.
Still working through this, but I don't think she's here yet. What's up? I finished and submitted my Snow White story. It was hard and scary, but I did it, and I'm glad. Yay. Congratulations, Shell.
That's a big thing to submit something.
Yep. Robin says her what's up. 1 week till launch, so freaking out there. Snow White anthology is progressing well.
Great.
Good. Let's see. I'm just trying to skim really quick because there was a lot. So if I missed you, I'm very, very sorry. Oh, Christina Catane says, what's up? Internet down. Oh, it's
I miss Christina so much.
She may be jumping in with us in a little bit. I told her that if she gets it up and running, just to kind of pop in and I'll add her to the stream. So hopefully she'll be able to join us. So, I missed one more. What's up? Maria says that not a huge lot different in lockdown life. Same here, Maria. Same here. Struggling to get back into my 3rd novel. Same here, Maria. As it feels quite slow paced after my nano project. Hubs has started to read it though, so that helps. Oh. I love
you
it when
guys are so helpful and inspiring because even sitting here going through all these what's up, I'm feeling more like writing than I ever had in weeks. It's weird. So thanks for sharing all that.
Yeah. Good. Maria also says your pop soda debate sounds as controversial as Brits discussing whether jam or cream go on first on a scone. Also, whether you pronounce it scone or as in or scone as in gone or scone as in cone. As long as it's in my face, I don't think I really care. Sounds so good right now. All right, so we got a lot going on in chat. So again, I apologize if I missed you, but I'll try to catch you later on in the chat.
Awesome.
Okay. All right, so are we ready to move on to the topic?
Yeah.
Which is Better Call a Beta. Review and launch teams, episode 1. Okay, so I will take this answer from anybody. What is a beta reader?
Well, I had to actually look this up because I'll confess, Jennifer and Tina are about the most knowledgeable people we had on this subject before we decided we were going to cover it on the podcast. And so I had to look it up. So a beta reader, like how B is next in the alphabet, alpha, beta. Okay, well, it's the second set of eyes that you have on your manuscript. So remember how we talked about protecting your first draft or whatever. Once you have shared with one trusted individual and made some fixes and everything, Jennifer, am I saying it correct? Mm-hmm. And the beta is the next group of people before publication to look at your book. Tell me what I got right and where I'm missing it.
No, you're totally right. Like the alpha we talked about, we didn't use the word alpha, but we talked about your cheerleader. The person that's going to be your cheerleader, no matter what, you need to have someone that will look at your stuff and just encourage you and be like, yeah, that's so great. Because you keep going, because it's frustrating. As you even heard in the what's up of all of our chatters, like we're cheering like, yay, you finished that. And yay, you got 12,000 because it gets to be a struggle. Like sometimes writing is a lot of fun and it's exciting. And sometimes it's just plain out work, right? So you need your cheerleaders. But the next stage is your beta readers. And this is not someone that, like we said, protect your rough draft. This is not someone or these are not people that you would share a rough draft with. It needs to have some editing onto it. So yeah, second people to see it.
All right. So you've got your cheerleaders read it. So when do you know that it's ready for the beta?
Oh, that's a great question because, I mean, I guess, yeah, like I guess, Jen, you're going to have to feel that one because I guess I wouldn't know. Like, would you have to do an edit, 2 edits? I mean, what would you say? Is it almost ready to publish?
Yes, I would say that a beta reader gets your book after you think it's ready to publish.
So you
for
think
me,
it's done. You think it's done.
Yes.
Okay.
So for me, it would be I would have this is my process. So I write and then I walk away from it. And then I run through and I do an edit, which is like cuz it's pretty rough when I finish it. And I get all of the cleaning up done. And then I walk away from it for about a week and then I come back through and I do a hard edit and then I do a listen edit where I have the computer read it to me and I hear for more things. That's when it would go to either a beta reader or it goes to my editor. Jamie kind of fills the role of both of those. And you'll hear people use some of these terms interchangeably. So there can be some discussion about how you use your own betas, and I'd love to see that in the chat. But for me, a beta reader will be somebody that will read it and they could possibly, hopefully not find any plot holes, but they could find like little things that you have missed. But they need to know that they are there to help you to get the novel better. They're not that this novel is not ready for the general public.
I have an idea of how people can maybe understand this. Duh. Because like that course that Tina is taking, it's called a beta test. It's called a beta program. She is getting the full course that the company normally charges a whole lot of money for. She's getting access for free as a beta tester because what they want is for her to report back any glitches or problems or troubles she has with the content. So it seems to me that it's a parallel situation. You're reading the book because the author thinks it's ready for prime time, and you're just supposed to flag if you see any trouble or problems, correct?
That is a really great way of putting it.
Got it.
A lot of people will use their betas as a way to, because it's expensive to hire an editor. And I could call Jamie my beta reader, but Jamie is so far beyond a beta reader. And I don't know how to explain that to you without just showing you the notes. Jamie does a complete edit for me. She should get paid for what she does for me. Let's be very honest. But beta readers would be doing this for free. So a lot of people who can't afford an editor will use a beta reader for that stage, looking for problems with the manuscript, looking for
like if you changed a name somewhere on your manuscript and you maybe missed one, she's still called Marietta in chapter 3 or like whatever. And then the beta can miss it too. And that's why some people prefer to have like 2 or something. But I think we're going to talk about numbers shortly here. So I don't want to jump ahead. Sorry about that.
Before we get out of this section that you're talking about, Jennifer, you had something very painful happen to you. Is that something that a beta reader would have helped with? Speaking of your chapters, the 2 chapters that were out of order.
That was just a fluke. So what happened to me with book 2, I don't know how I would have avoided it other than, so my process, I didn't really finish a process. So it goes to Jamie. She's my editor. And then it comes back and I go through all of her extensive edits. And then I clean it up and then I put it in an ebook form and a print form and I get a printed copy sent to me. And then it goes to my copy editor. And when my copy editor got it was fine. And she went through, she got there was like all the little, like there was some missed commas, things like that. Like there were no like wrong names. There were no like, wait, this person died last chapter. Why they said there was none of that because Jamie caught all of that. It was just like commas and periods and just the little nitpicky stuff because I have to do that because I am a nitpicky person. So and so she does all that for me, and then I went back in and made all those little corrections, and then I had all the books, all the copies I needed for giveaways and whatever sent to me before launch day. I got them, was it 2 days before launch day? And I also sent out to my ARC team. We're going to talk about ARC teams later. And one person in my ARC team sent me a note 2 days before it was to go live and said, I think you have 2 chapters out of order. Somewhere between the copy editor and me putting in those little things, somehow 2 chapters got switched. And it was just a fluke thing, probably like a misclicking of the mouse or whatever. I don't know how to fix that other than I have to make sure now every time I'm looking at my chapter titles before we go to
Right. And especially because our process was a chapter at a time. And so I'm not looking at a whole book in order. And sometimes your people who are proofing for you are not looking at a physical book. They're looking at digital files. And so it can happen if you're not careful in the formatting, which probably should be a whole nother episode, how to format books for print. Oh, look who's here.
Yay.
I don't know for how long, but I'm here now.
Yay. What's up with you, Bambina?
Just frustrated with my internet.
All right.
They shut it down for maintenance in the middle of the night, and I think they should have just left it alone.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay.
Mhm.
Well, you're just in time because I was just getting ready to ask the ladies. I mean, let's be specific about, do you just make up your own rules for betas, or is there like a checklist we could go down to?
Yeah, is there like an industry standard for a beta?
Yeah,
reader
that's
or what? Yeah.
You want to field that one?
I don't know that there's an industry standard, but when I was looking for beta readers, I did find checklists on the internet that you could download or copy or whatever.
Did you use one of those checklists? And then if you did, I think you had a negative experience with a checklist, didn't you?
Yeah, I think mine, I'm a cautionary tale. I think I rushed into it too quickly. I wasn't ready to have beta readers, and my expectations were different than what I got. So that's not necessarily the fault of the beta readers. It's probably the fault of not being specific enough in the checklist.
Yeah.
Of what I wanted. So
Okay. And
so
Jennifer,
I think that goes back. So I because I only use one beta reader, and it's Jamie. I'm able to share my expectations very easily. But if it were me, and we're going to talk about what to do and what not to do, if I had more than Jamie, I would have very specific expectations, and I would have a checklist, and I'd be very specific about it, because we all know we've edited for other people and for each other. And if I'm only looking for, does this storyline work, and all I get back are commas are missing, or like, then that's not helpful to me, and it's frustrating. And it's also frustrating for the person who's doing the beta reading, because they put a lot of work in and then it's useless. So that's hard too. So so I would say that again, numbers low, keep the numbers low, but then you have to be very specific with the expectations.
I just want to jump in to say anybody who's watching later should really make sure they're going to the YouTube channel to look at all these wonderful comments in the chat. Because once again, our chatters are coming through with great information. So thanks a lot, you guys, with your contributions. That's all I want to say, because I don't know much about betas.
One of the things we want to make sure that we also cover too, or that we say too, is that beta readers are not just your fan base. This is an opinion thing, because some people, Tina and I were talking about this in our meeting, that she knows of authors, you said, right, that they will take and put it out to their reader base, and anyone who wants to be a beta reader, can be a beta reader. I do that for my ARC teams, and we'll talk about that later. But that just frightens me, because there's different expectations. When you might find a reader that will make a great beta reader for you, but it has to be the right person. Somebody who's looking for enjoyment in a story, reading a story, is not going to enjoy reading a beta and giving feedback. And then when the book comes out, it's different. right?
I think,
So,
yes, I think I'm understanding why I've been having such a hard time wrapping my mind around this concept. It's because the beta reader is meant to serve you, the writer. And I think the problem is when you look for a checklist of things a beta reader should be doing, that checklist is not going to work for every writer because the writer's need is so specific.
yeah.
So you have to think of the beta reader as a tool in your getting your book the best it can be toolbox, right? The beta reader needs to do what you need them to do. If you're concerned that the cliffhanger isn't enthralling enough, then you need to specifically give different direction to your beta readers than someone who's concerned if you can tell I'm not a native English speaker. That would be a different set of concerns that a beta reader would be addressing for the writer. So you need to determine what you need from the beta reader so that they can give it to you, correct?
Agreed.
All right.
Also, since we had that meeting, I went back into the Facebook group that I am part of, where this guy's always asking for readers, and he is looking for ARC readers and not beta readers.
Yeah, that's different.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's
you
what
want
we
lots of
wanted
ARC
to
readers.
do. We wanted to do this episode. We don't want lots of beta readers, correct?
I would say I had like 50 something, and there was one person that helped, that was really helpful, and I kind of threw in the end. I had a lot of specific instructions, and then I kind of threw in at the end, if you see any commas or something out of place, go ahead and let me know. And I think a lot of my beta readers focused on that and missed like all those other instructions somehow.
Well,
Because
also
a lot
too,
of
you
people-
admitted yourself that like you weren't ready for beta readers. So if your manuscript wasn't ready, then that kind of stuff stands out to people, right? And it's really hard for some people to not do all the commas and stuff because they think they're helping you, but you have 50 people doing that, right? So
Yeah, and
you
so
want
if
another
I
reason
had
to give them
taken
just
all their
clean-
advice, I would have had a comma between every word.
And sometimes people just don't know how to give feedback. They do know how to correct grammar and punctuation. So if you're finding that your beta readers are not being effective, you might want to experiment with asking open-ended questions. On a scale of 1 to 5, how much peril did you feel in chapter 3? Or something like that. I mean, if you need specific feedback, just ask for it. Figure out what you're worried works or doesn't work, and then you're not disappointed, and the beta reader feels like they've really been helpful to you. So it's a win-win to ask for what you need, is what I'm starting to believe.
Mhm.
All right. This is not completely following the outline right now, but I'm just wondering, is there anywhere online to find them? Okay, so if you need an editor, you just, there are a lot of places to find an editor for different price ranges. And if you want to, different parts of the writing process, there are people out there that there's like a stable of editors and stuff. So is there somewhere you can go, like betareadercentral.com?
Well, I think we should push pause because I think that's a wonderful transition for next week, because next week we're going to cover advanced review. What is the C for? Copy? Is that what that? Okay. We're going to cover ARC advanced review copy teams next week. And we're also going to talk about how to find these people that we're talking about. So Rhonda, Queen of Cliffhangers, is going to lead you guys on the cliffhanger of where do you find a good beta reader, because we're going to cover that next week when we talk about advanced review copy teams as well.
Okay. All right. Tina, have you shared everything you wanted to share about your experience? I know we've got quite a bit of it.
I just wanted to say that I wouldn't go back and change it, I don't think, because I had asked my friend, because my book's set in Alaska, I had gotten in contact with my best friend growing up and asked her to be a beta reader because I wanted to know if the Alaska part was authentic. Yeah, I wanted it to feel authentic to people from Alaska. So she said, I have some friends I bet would be interested. Can I ask them? And I said, sure. And one of her friends was an English professor at the University of Washington. And she just gave me like a professional 4-page thing. And so she's like the one person that super helped me. And I wouldn't have found her if I hadn't kind of just gone and done my own thing trying to find beta readers.
You know, I love that about you, Tina, because not only are you never afraid to say, well, I screwed up, and then be someone that I can learn from. It's so wonderful and refreshing for someone to just be upfront like that. But then you always find a way to learn from the mistakes. And I always tell my kids, why waste a mistake if you could learn something? And so I just so appreciate that about you. Thanks for sharing
Thanks.
authentically like that.
Mhm. Okay, so as the author, is there anything you can do to reward people for being a beta reader or entice them to be, or is it basically just you're lucky or you're not?
No, I think personally, some people think, well, I just like it's helping me, so thanks. Well, that's great, but as Tina discovered when she had like 50 some people, only a handful did it. Rather than like casting wide and hoping to get a few good ones, because goodness gracious, what if all 50 people had written her back with all the imagine going through all those edits. Oh my word. But I say you find your beta readers, you find the tribe of people that are really well suited for this task. And then for me, I give a signed copy of the book. Jamie hasn't gotten it yet, but because I've not seen her. But like anyone that does something for me, so even my proofreader, my copy editor, gets a signed copy. So anyone that would beta read for you, not only did they get to see the book in advance, which people think is cool, that's you get the preview, they get a signed physical copy. Some people even give like a gift card. It just depends on like what you feel like kind of feedback you got or how you feel like you want to reward them. But there should be something you hand to them that says thank you very much. You write their name in there. And then also I put in the back of my books, in my acknowledgments, I acknowledge the people that helped me get there, and that would include beta readers.
Yeah, we got Robin, Sage, and Barb agreeing that is a must. People who help you get across the finish line should be acknowledged. They agree with you. Awesome.
Now, how did you two do with deadlines?
Oh, with the beta readers following deadlines? Oh, that's a good question, because I mean, they're doing you a favor, right? So how do you kind of get on their case if they're not doing it? I know, Jennifer, you didn't have such a problem with you.
I really did it. Jamie is like doom, 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 doom. Like, so she's like very good about that, which again, that's why, like I saw Sage had said earlier, the maximum of 5 people. That's exactly the number I said. I would never have more than 5 betas. 3 is kind of what I go for. I really like that I have 1 because I have 1 really good one and I can trust that person. But so when you only have a few people to corral, it's a lot easier to be like, hey, I need this, I need this, I need this. And that helps when you have a smaller number. But honestly, if they don't make the deadline and you've given them a little bit of grace and extension and they still can't make it, you move on. That's all you can do.
I wonder too about now hear me all the way through the thought. The logic of sending the same draft to 5 separate people to me does not seem as efficient as one beta, get it back, make fixes, next beta. Do you understand what I mean? Because it seems to me you wouldn't want to have 5 conflicting choices of you should change the paragraph to say Periwinkle the horse went and ate some hay, but in all the other 4 iterations there's 4 different suggestions that now you have to pick which is the best. Do you see what I mean? Like I feel like having 5 of that to like conflict and tell me would make me crazy.
All right, so here's the problem. I don't want to do this 5 different times.
Me
I don't want to go
neither.
back through 5 times, which is why I keep it low. Plus, in my world, Jamie was my editor, and if I were going to do betas, they would be between Jamie and my proofreader. I would not, so they would not be telling me, well, you should do this with that paragraph. Jamie gives me a full on, like an editor, like an edit with suggestions, and some of that I don't take, but some that are good suggestions that just don't feel right to me. And some that I'm like, yes, that's a way better way of doing it. A beta, for me personally, a beta reader would be the person that's like, you totally missed this, or I don't like this, and so it would be kind of like, yes or no, I'm going to take that. Oh, comma, okay. So if I have 5 of them, I'm getting 5 different people. 4 of them are saying I need a comma here and 1 is not. I'm going to go with the 4. Does that make sense? That's how that would work for me.
Sage is saying something very similar. It's about seeing if the majority of people pick up on the same problem. And that did happen, like in a positive note, that did happen for me with my beta readers. like the grammar and the punctuation problems and stuff aside, there was a major plot hole in my story, and they all picked up on it. So I had the mother as part of the story, and nobody understood her motivation or why she was acting the way she was.
That's helpful.
So it's because I had like multiple people saying that, and then I had the English professor telling me why. I mean, that's when I knew I had to start over and rewrite.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more like taking 5 people, Jamie, but they're like one edit for you.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I'm saying. Like the organization of having a lot of beta readers would be very, very difficult.
Yeah, I agree.
So.
Okay, now here's another problem from real life. We know someone who had several beta readers, all miss the same misspelling in a document. Does that sound familiar to anybody?
Yeah, it was something that happened. I don't remember.
Yeah, it was in the Cheeto story.
Oh.
And I don't remember what word it is, but you had spelled it consistently
And
2
then
different
I
ways
walked
throughout
out
the whole
somewhere.
story.
Yeah.
Was it a word or a name?
I don't
It
remember.
was a
like it
word.
was
I
a
don't think it was
word.
the name.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the word was, but I do remember that.
Well, I think
So-
to address that, I mean, it just happens, right? I mean, so
Mhm.
what are you saying? Like,
Well, my question is, I mean, do you just completely trust what your beta readers have to say, and when they're done with it, make the changes they suggest, and then just move on? Or,
Well,
I
in a
would
case
think
like
your proofreader would be after the beta readers.
yeah,
okay.
and after your proofreader, you just at some point you just got to hit publish because
Mhm.
there's always going to be a missing comma. There's always going to be a missing quote mark. There's always going to be something, and at some point you just got to move forward. And that's the great thing about being an indie publisher. Oh, nuts! I missed a quote mark there. Reload it up, and no one knows the difference. Everyone, maybe the people that bought it the opening day. I'm so into baseball right now. Bought it release day, have a copy that's incorrect, but everybody else won't even know. So it just that kind of thing happens. Now, if a bunch of beta readers are telling me to do something that I really strongly feel should not be changed in my book, it's still my story. So like you're not in contract to do everything they tell you to do. So
I just feel like it is so strange how mistakes in traditionally published books are very obvious to me now. I never noticed them. I
too.
never saw
Oh,
them.
I did.
But I think it's because now I'm holding myself up to some standard, like it has to be as good as TradPub. And then I get a TradPub book that's full of errors, and I wonder, has it always been that way, or is stuff just getting sloppy, or I can't tell. Has it always been that way? That there's
I'll tell
errors,
you, when
right?
I was in high school, I specifically remember noticing this. My senior year is when the original Photoshop came out, and I went to school to be a printer. And so proofreading is like my training. And I think that's probably why I noticed it. But it's like when computers came out and the proofreaders, they weren't people's eyes so much. People were starting to rely more on computers. That's when a lot more errors started showing up in printed works, including newspapers and magazines, not just big work. Yep.
Wow.
I've really noticed it go downhill with like newspaper articles. They're just horrible nowadays. The spelling and my husband got interviewed for something one time, and they completely got the information wrong. Like the name of the church was not the right name. I don't know like where the disconnect came, but obviously somebody wasn't checking.
I think our local paper too is kind of a rag, so that doesn't help the situation.
Oh, and it was the local paper. Yep.
On a positive note, lower standards for us to meet. Yay!
No, that's the problem is that people will ignore traditionally published mistakes. But you, as an indie author, you make a mistake, and everyone's like, they're an indie."
Especially the jealous ones that are scouring your work with their little magnifying. Oh, brother.
The ones that are never going to get published because they're writing the same book for 30 years, but they're going to go traditional. My book's so great that I'm going to go traditional. And I'm like, I chose not to. I could have. I didn't want to. I also want to bring something else up. I'm kind of like scanning the chat to clarify. No, I do not think beta readers should replace your proofreader. You have to have a copy editor or proofreader after the beta level. I do think, though, that betas can be very instrumental in helping you find a bunch of little things to make life easier for your proofreader.
Yeah,
That's
but
how I
it
feel.
seems to me kind of like what Tina said, since people are drawn to proofreading, to copy editing, commas and periods, it really feels like a waste to waste a reader on copy edits. Like, you want the reader to tell you, is the book any good? Would you have paid, the $14.99 to get this book in your hand? Did it pull you in? Did it excite you? You know what I mean? You don't want to waste time having them tell you left a period out or you need a paragraph indent. You're really hoping they're going to give you that feedback to let you know it's a good book.
So to avoid that, give them the cleanest copy possible. Spend the time editing. It's painful and it hurts and it's hard, but you got to do that before the beta see it, because I agree. You want them to give you a different kind of feedback.
Right. Okay. Tina, I'm going to give you the last word on the topic for today, because we do need to move on to our sprints.
Oh, I have to have a last word?
Yes. You are
Stay
allowed
tuned.
that.
Stay tuned for when I do it right. And I will give you the update.
Did you want her to talk about what not to do? Because that was what we were.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm totally just discombobulated because of my internet issues. I would say what I did, don't do that.
Okay.
Don't go on Facebook and recruit 50 beta readers. And when you do that, don't give them a list and don't throw in at the end that they should look for commas, because that was
Yeah. Well, in your defense, though, weren't you following a program that, like, the whole goal was to get as many beta readers as possible?
I was no, not really. I was kind of partially. See, this is what I do. I get bored and I usually instructions that they give you on stuff. I'll read like the first 2 sentences and I'm like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
And then I just, because I don't like details. I'm not a detail person. I'm a big idea person.
Mm-hmm.
So, give me the big idea, and then I just skip the details. So that's probably what happened. I don't remember. It was quite a while ago.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, should we move on, or anything else? Okay. So
next week we're doing ARC readers, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
So make sure everybody knows that for sure. I couldn't remember if you said that or not. Sorry.
No, I did not say that.
Sorry.
So yes, ARC readers next week, and hopefully we'll have some feedback from our fresh ARC readers today.
Yay!
Of course, I guess it depends on how long it takes to get the book, but all right. So we need to feed each other's backs now. So our back feeding time, what we do is right before we start the live stream every week, we sit down and 15 minutes we sprint. We do not edit. We start with a prompt and we just write 15 minutes. So the feedback we give each other is all positive because it is unedited. So Tina, were you able to get one in today?
Yep.
All right, let's start with you then.
Oh boy. Okay.
Can you
please tell us our prompts?
Yep. We used 5 words, and the words were canvas, knowledge, agree, drama, and concept. And I did get 1 word in, and then I forgot all about the 5 words.
Sounds familiar.
And I'm not even sure I have a story here, but here goes. Leo stared at the blank canvas before him, brush in hand, fresh paint on his palette. He wasn't feeling all that inspired on this rainy spring day. The moisture seemed to seep in through the shutters and cling to the stone walls. The roar of the rain on the roof was affecting his concentration. Perhaps he would be swept away by floodwaters. Unlikely, since his room was on the 2nd floor. He flung open the shutters despite the rain. It did little to improve the gloom of the room, or his mood either. Perhaps he should work at the clay. He sat at the wheel and began to pump the pedal, making it turn. He poured some water upon the lump and began to shape it with his hands. The wet clay coated his hands as if he were wearing rusty orange gloves. However, the shapes he formed displeased him greatly, and after throwing the lump down on the wheel to start again for the 3rd time, he gave up. He went to the wash basin and rinsed his hands, turning the water dark. bits of clay stuck to the white porcelain at the waterline. The housemaid would love that, he thought to himself. If the rain weren't pouring down so, he would go outside and check on his gardens. As it were, they were getting more than a drink today. He wandered into the study and settled into his worn-out armchair. He packed his pipe with fresh tobacco, breathing deeply at the pleasing scent before lighting it and settling it in with a book on mathematics. He smiled. It never failed to entertain. He could spend hours lost in another world and wait out the rain quite contentedly. Never mind that it was he who had written the book. It was fresh every time he read it. "Oh, here you are," Cecilia gasped as she entered the room. "I looked for you in your painting room, which I swear you said is where you would be." She sucked in another couple breaths, her hand on her breast as she did so. "A woman of your age should really not be running up and down the stairs like that," he said. "Yes, well, lunch is served." With that, she spun and ran from the room. Leo put his book down, knocked out his pipe, and headed for the dining room. Lunch. Yes, lunch would be a welcome distraction on such a gloomy day.
Okay, this sounds like a brand new modern Sherlock Holmes dude. Is it just me, or do you guys feel that?
Now,
No,
see,
I know
to
exactly
me,
what she's talking about.
to me, it seemed more like almost a Hobbit kind of setting, and I'm sure that's probably just my mind space. But I love the setting of this book.
She's writing about Leonardo da Vinci.
Oh,
Great
Jennifer,
I was just thinking about him and his man and all that stuff.
Such great clues, Tina. That was awesome. Like, and because you said his name at the beginning, but like I don't always focus on the names, right? So then a few sentences in, I was like, wait, what name did she say? And then you kept going, and I'm like listening. I'm like, she's got to say the name again. And then you said about him pulling out the math book, and I'm like, it's got to be Leonardo da Vinci. And then you said Leo, and I'm like, yeah.
Jen nailed it. Jen nailed it. She's the
I normally
detective
don't.
today.
a lot of people don't know that he was a sculptor, a painter, a botanist, and a mathematician, and there's like other things on the list.
Would you like to learn a cool word about him? Which is weird that I just looked him up. He was a Polymath, polymath. I don't know how you say the word, but it's somebody who's advanced training in multidisciplines. And anyway, it's so weird, Tina, because I was just looking him up and thinking about him. It's like we have some mind link. We need to talk later.
Okay.
Maria says, really evocative description. I especially love the opening lines. I agreed.
Thanks.
I liked when she said gloom of the room. I loved it.
Sage says, you are amazing at description. Gigi says, I could feel the gloominess of the rainy day. Awesome. I could listen all day. I already read that one. Sorry. Right. Shell said, so great, Tina. Agree with Jason. Great imagery. I miss Jason. So yeah, great. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
That's awesome.
guys. My back is like just feasted.
Aren't you glad you worked really hard to get your internet going so you could join us?
Yeah,
ma'am.
I think it was eating the peanut M&Ms that did the trick.
That's what it was. Always works
Yeah.
for me. I think you should tell yourself that's the trick to getting the internet working.
Yep, they are magic.
Only the green ones.
All right,
I don't
J.R.
even know
Nichols.
what color I ate.
Who's next?
J.R. Nichols.
Oh, me. Okay. Sweet. Here we go. Oh, by the way, I think I got 2 words. Then, like Tina forgot I was supposed to use words. Oops. Okay. I'm hungry. And with the utterance of that single syllable, my hopes of escaping the museum within the first hour of our arrival evaporated. Years of experience as a homeschooled child attending mom's field trips had taught me that telling mother I was bored and wanted to leave was an unpardonable sin, but a plea to meet a physical need would on occasion net a positive result. It was a long shot, but I hadn't tried the tactic in weeks. I was hoping it would pay off, but not today. It was likely for the better, as once we were out of the gallery, I'd have to find room in my mini-wheat expanded stomach for at least a few spoonfuls of pho in order to sell the lie. I sighed and patted my relieved tummy and meandered over to my favorite bench. I couldn't tell you what painting was on the wall across from it. I just liked to sit there because it was the one place to sit in the room, and I could swing my feet in different rhythms or in circles to whatever soundtrack playing in my head, thanks to the Cedarmont Kids Hymns Only rule in the minivan. Sing Hosanna was playing on a silent perpetual loop up in there. I like to tell myself I would have had more knowledge about art when I was young. If I would have had more knowledge about art when I was young, I would have appreciated these endless trips to the museum a bit more. But I understand now that the problem was with my perception. Instead of appreciating the human experience trapped on canvas, I remember feeling trapped myself. I guess it was being inside under the dim artificial lighting meant to preserve and protect, but with the consequence of making the exhibit seem brooding and lifeless. Of course, not all of Mom's field trips were a flop. My favorites were the sunken gardens, where the scenery seemed to change all the time, and there always seemed to be something new to explore. Something new in bloom, something new hatching. I also liked the Children's Museum, where the toys and experiments kept my brain spinning, and a tarpaulin or a yellow warning tape stretched across an area promised something coming soon. And that's what I got.
Mhm.
I love it. I love all the details that like totally tell us like that's a kid, like the Cedar Mount music playing in the car. Like I feel like it was my kids talking. Like that was really good.
Mhm.
Yeah, I had a tense change there, but it's because I started really before and then I went back and went to the beginning. I know it sounds weird, but it's like I had one idea and then changed everything. Whatever.
I don't
Can
want
you
you to
repeat
take
that?
this the wrong way. I totally felt your boredom.
Yes.
Yes.
Because I was thinking about it, like, why would that have bored me? I just didn't have the right perspective as a kid. I was like, what are we doing in here? It's gloomy and, But I mean, I don't remember this feeling as a kid. I just am trying to reconcile the fact that I did not go to museums more. I don't know. It was like some therapy session, I guess I was working through.
My parents drugged me through every museum in Europe.
Good for them.
I remember standing in front of the Mona Lisa and complaining that I was hungry. So like, your story just took me right back there. That's like,
I didn't know I was writing about you, Tina. Oh, wonderful.
I love that line about the homeschooling field trips.
Yeah.
When I used to pretend like I was homeschooling my kids during the summertime, we came up with all these different things too, and some were appreciated, some of them weren't.
you weren't
Yeah.
pretending.
Well, that's true.
That's true.
What really resonated with me was finding the bench and sitting there because it's the only place to sit in the room. And I, even as an adult, will be like, even if I'm enjoying myself, like I'm always spotting, is there a place to sit down if I get tired? Like I'm always scoping out like the.
Mhm.
Oh
But
my
I don't
goodness. The village
think my
has a
parents
bench like every 20 yards.
Yeah.
Because you live in a retirement complex, like similar. My parents, I don't think have in their life have ever stepped into a museum, so clearly they didn't take us either. That's something I found later in life, but so okay, yeah. There's a lot of talk about M&Ms in here, and someone even apologized. Sorry, Janie, we're talking about M&Ms because right before you
Totally
went.
fine. I mean, I get it. I feel like my back is very fed. So who's next?
Did you guys know that there are no brown M&Ms outside the United States? It's a
No,
US
brownie.
Wait a minute. Do you remember?
brownie M&Ms.
Do you guys
yeah.
remember the tan M&Ms? They
Yes,
weren't
I
dark
do.
brown. They were tan.
And they got rid of them.
Yeah.
And orange, but I think because Reese's Pieces, maybe they don't do those colors now, orange and yellow. I don't know.
They do orange.
Do they do orange? Tina's looking in her bag.
I didn't realize they stopped doing the tan ones.
No tan ones.
Oh, like when we were kids, years ago.
The peanuts never seem to have the
That's
tan.
when they were talking about the red dye, whatever.
I don't remember seeing tan peanut M&Ms. Do you guys? Like the peanut M&Ms didn't ever really have tan. That's weird.
Mm.
Anyway,
Of course,
I don't
at that
know why
age, I only ate the chocolate ones anyway.
do you remember when blue came out? I'm like, blue is an unnatural color for an M&M. Of course, all of the rest of them are normal colors, right? Like none of them are artificial.
I
The
never
blue is
cared.
the
I just
problem.
Well,
wanted
my
them in my
M&M
mouth.
tree has blue ones.
I just wanted them in my
forever.
mouth. I didn't care what color they were.
Jennifer's just lost in dreaming of eating M&Ms. Look at her. She's like,
It's been a long time.
Would
Do
you
they
like
make
some?
do they make keto
one, tender
M&Ms?
one. You have to hand it above you. There's just like the straw from earlier. Maybe she could take it from you if you hand it up to her.
Does Chalk Zero make an M&M? They make a peanut butter cup, but
Chalk Zero.
Oh, Tina tried to give you an
It's
M&M. You like left her hanging.
Okay.
sorry. I can't even do a
didn't realize
virtual
we
one.
are
I'll probably
so
gain 5
distracted.
pounds.
We are way off track. I'm sorry.
All right. So if anybody has wondered what our writer meetings are like, this is it.
This is it. This is why we
Okay.
get no writing done.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes we do.
All right,
Sometimes.
so let's get back into podcast mode. All
I've
right,
gotten writing
so-
done this week, but that I'll save
Yay!
that.
Yeah.
I'll save that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm going to read mine. It's super short, and then Jennifer will read hers. Okay. I got all 5 words. See if you can find them.
Yay!
We start each meeting off with a blank canvas and a 15-minute sprint. She pointed to the row of computers lined up along the back wall in the darkest corner of Panera while noting the color drain from this poor girl's face. Don't smile. Don't comfort. She'll warm up on her own, Mary reminded herself. She'd run off enough new members by pushing too hard in the past. As an introvert herself, Mary's personal knowledge of being the new person in the group was painful. Alice, the sprint topic today is 2 actors agree on the concept of drama in theater. Melissa piped up as she scooted her 21-inch laptop over to make room for Alice to sit. Alice slipped into the empty space as deftly and quietly as a mouse, as if she'd spent her life slipping into places where she wanted to remain invisible.
Nice.
She pulled her little tablet out, wishing it looked a little more impressive next to Melissa's giant machine. Alice centered herself and watched Mary from the corner of her eye. She had a stopwatch in her hand, and every other eye in this corner were on her. That's it.
No, that's not it.
Yeah, it is. That's it. You've
Rhonda,
all been
I
here
don't know
before.
how you just suck me into these characters. It's like you
Mhm.
make them so lovably flawed. You want to win for them. You want the character to have an experience so that you can like see how she like. It's amazing. Like immediately, this is a real person to me. I'm not even sure what
Aw.
you're doing to do that. Can you
It-
guys put your finger on it?
It feels
Yes,
like
it is
well,
magic.
I can't put my finger on it, but like I felt like she was writing about me because how many times have we gone into Panera, like in all the computers? That's where our NaNoWriMo has their write-ins is Panera. So like immediately I was there. Like you didn't even
Mhm.
have to set up the setting. I'm like I was totally there. So
I totally
like-
pictured Vicky with her big gaming
Oh, yeah.
computer.
Yeah,
aw, Vicky, I haven't seen her in forever.
I miss
I know.
Vicky.
I miss
it's been
Vicky.
a long time.
We love you, Vicky, if you're watching.
Even
Okay,
if she's
Jen,
not
let's hear
watching.
yours.
Even if you're not, yeah, even if you're not watching, we still love you. That was a dumb thing to say, Jen.
Oh, sorry.
All right, here's mine. I got all 5 words and I got them in order. Not sure if that's a compliment to myself or not, because it's very possible that I did that just so that I wouldn't miss them, but I can't
Before
get it
you
bigger.
read, I'd just like you to know that Rhonda is passively aggressively sneaking drinks of something that looks suspiciously like pop while you are talking.
It's
Anyway.
Diet Pepsi Crystal Light.
That sounds horrible.
And fake. All
Sorry, I'm squirreling us. I'll stop. Sorry,
Okay.
go Jen.
right, here's mine. Oh, it's already 11 o'clock. Okay. Lena stared at the canvas, its stark whiteness mocking her. What had ever possessed her to agree to this painting class anyway? Oh, that's right. Wine. The knowledge of the class The knowledge of the class included a wine tasting had drawn her in. The additional knowledge that her non-drinker friend who had coaxed her into attending would be sitting right beside her had sealed the deal. Marnie got to paint the night away and Lena got to drink for 2, right beside her. Win-win. But when she arrived, her hopes of a relaxing, drama-free evening with one of her besties drained faster than her first glass of Bordeaux. Sitting on the other side of Marnie was Renee Baxter. Oh, I didn't know you were coming. Renee smiled sweetly, like an overpainted clown in a horror movie smiles. You don't seem the artistic type. Lena's hackles immediately stood at attention. Why would anyone say that to someone in a follow the teacher class like this? It was literally paint by the numbers type of concept with less stress. And there's wine. Lena didn't smile. She didn't even look at Renee. She walked by her and said, "If you think I'm sharing Marnie's drinks with you, you've got another thing coming." That's fine, the clown face continued. I'm not much of a drinker anyway. Lena could not contain the ha that escaped her. To be fair, she didn't even try. In college, Renee had quite the reputation for drunkenness and all the walks of shame that followed that type of behavior. And she didn't seem to have changed much as far as Lena could tell. Marnie smiled weakly as Lena took her seat. They didn't need to talk about it. Marnie knew Lena wasn't happy, and Lena knew Marnie only wanted them to get along. It was an age-old story between them. Marnie would just say that Lena could handle one evening, and Lena would roll her eyes, knowing that she would do anything to make her best friend happy. So instead of speaking, she grabbed the glass next to her easel and held it straight into the air and waved it at the handsome man walking around with the bottle. 3, 2, 1.
You have to write a contemporary. It's like
I
this
know.
sassy voice of yours is being so wasted in this prim and proper. Maybe that will help break your writing dam free if you start a little
Maybe.
fun contemporary or something where you can just write and not really think too much about historical detail and stuff like that. Because, girl, it's so fun when you put on your contemporary hat and you get all snarky with your clown face makeup and stuff. It's really fun. I really enjoy that voice.
I didn't know if I went overboard or not with it this time, but
You
and
really
I
need
don't
to continue this story because I want to know what happens when the wine really gets her lips loose and
That's
she
right.
just lets the other girl have it.
If this is how it is when she's sober, you can only imagine what happens. I know.
Unlimited alcohol seems like a great idea in this environment. I'm not sure why that would be a problem.
I know. I actually, and the funny thing is, for those of you listening, I don't drink. I don't know anything about wine, so I hope Bordeaux would be appropriate for like a wine tasting painting class. I don't even
Fine.
know.
It's what you like. You just drink what you like. So don't worry.
Okay.
Don't worry too much about that.
All right. So yeah.
Good job. I think that was amazing. And
Yep.
I would love to hear more of that
Mhm.
relationship.
Definitely.
It's like
Thanks.
the relationship is very titillating there. I would love to see why do they have all this drama, the backstory, fun.
Yeah, thanks. Lots of positive things being said. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Shell and Sage. And Jason says, I wanted her to unleash also.
Yeah, a lot
I
of
know,
people
right?
live
PG
vicariously
everyone
through
thinks.
you because, I think really nice people like to read people being mean in books because we would never.
I say give the
Right.
girl the whole bottle and just let her go.
Yeah.
Just like,
It would be very therapeutic because I would never, ever speak to anyone like that.
What could be fun is if, like, Jennifer gets assignments. Okay, your sprint needs to be. Okay, no, you notice I'm volunteering Jennifer for this, but anyway, not myself.
I love that you didn't even comment on what I said. So
What
that's
did you
awesome.
say? I totally missed it.
Yeah, I said that I would be very therapeutic because I would never speak to someone that way. I'm a nice person. I really would you agree? I'm a nice person, but I also get in trouble with my mouth.
Well, for the what's next, you should talk about like your dad's like kind of
Oh,
philosophy, and that
That's
you are kind of like
that should have
going
been my,
into that.
that should have been
Why
my,
don't you just go into
what's
that
up?
right now?
Yeah, just say
Okay.
it.
So this is a quick story, but I do want to talk about my writing, but I'll try to make this quick because I can never make anything quick. So we have in the house we're moving into, we have neighbors that are kind of like the painted clown smile kind of neighbors. Like they came off as really friendly, but they keep encroaching on our property. The big thing for me was while my elderly aunt had cancer and dying, they built a barn in their backyard too close to the property line, and they knew it because they think that no one's going to make them move it or anything. And that just angers me that they would do that to an elderly person because she wasn't capable of going uptown and fighting it and all that. So that makes me angry. So we are going to because they continue to do things, right? So and they also will, like my husband was out in our barn, and I go out to talk to him, and my daughter's sitting on the tailgate of our truck, and she just gives me this look. I'm like, what is she looking at me like that for? I come around the corner, here the guy stands. My husband cannot go to work out there without him showing up in there and like just standing there, and he'll walk around our barn and look at our stuff, and like, who does that? And so I walk in, and instantaneously I snap, like something in me switches, and I'm like, I look at my husband, like, I'm waiting inside and I have a ton of things for you to do. And I'm sorry if you're busy out here and I hate to interrupt, but I need you. And my husband's like, no problem. I can do this later. And so the guy's like, oh, and he like leaves, and my husband and I walk up and we hold hands as we're walking from the barn to the house. And I'm like, honey, I don't have anything. I mean, I have lots for you to do, but I'm not mad. I was just trying to save you. And my husband's like, I totally know. He goes, but just so you know, you can treat me that way anytime you want to get me away from that guy because it just won't leave you alone. So I was telling the girls the story and I was saying that, it's okay if people in this neighborhood think I'm not nice because the people that take the time to get to know me will be the people that become our friends. And I don't have to be friends with everybody. And then all of a sudden it hit me. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm turning into grandpa. And they laughed, but I'm like, my dad, that was how my dad was growing up, is that everyone thought he was mean because he always had this look on his face. But if you got to know him, all my friends knew he wasn't mean, but he didn't want to waste his time with people that weren't worth spending your time on, So it might sound rude, but all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, I have turned into my father and I'm not really upset about it. So, okay. That's probably a little bit more insight into my personality than what most people needed to know, but my real what's next is the four of us are working on a project together, and every week we would get together and we're kind of like, okay, no, I didn't do anything. All right. So we started putting some hard deadlines, and I just want to say that my rough draft number 1 is finished.
Yay!
That's so huge.
It is huge. I'm very happy about it.
Glad.
I will probably take another look at it right before I submit it to you guys on Tuesday. But yeah, I'm happy with it, and I think it accomplished what I wanted. And yeah,
we have to have a little talk about when we can tell people more about what we're doing, what this project is that we're talking about. Because all of you listening, this is for you guys. We're working on a little project that we hope you guys will get excited about. I don't think we're ready to talk too much about it yet, but exciting, Jen! Yay!
Yeah.
Good for you. Awesome.
And I showed up most of the time for office hours, so that was pretty good. So
you had a very good week.
Thank you, Rhonda. Rhonda was there to make sure.
Yes, that's right.
So this next week, I get to focus back again on, and I got some more chapters edited. So it's going good. I'm having a good week. What about you, Bambina?
Well, I would have had mine done if the internet hadn't gone down at midnight last night.
Yeah, because you're a night owl.
I am a night owl, and my creative juices have been flowing at about 1 a.m. lately. And so I was going to work on that, on finishing it up. And like 12:30, the internet went out, and I went on my little thing, my app on my phone, and it said they were down for maintenance. So, and that they expected it to be back up at 6 a.m. Well, I don't know what they did with their maintenance, but I wasn't very happy when I got up at 9 and it was still acting funny. So
yeah, mine was too.
So I got to finish that. Still doing the edits for my novel, and it's going as slowly but steadily. I'm really just kind of slowing down and just trying to get into the same mode that I get in during sprints, where I'm not thinking about the big story, but focusing on that 15 minutes. And that seems to be going really well for me. So.
Good.
I'm so glad, Tina, because we're wondering when we're going to get our paws on that book of yours. So it's good to hear that progress is happening.
Yeah,
it is. It's slow, like I said, because I'm really focusing on the description, not just of the scenery, but of what's going on in Angelica's head, and so sometimes I get done with it and I don't like it and I do it again. So.
Well, good for you. I'm going to go next only because then Rhonda can pull us out of the pit of writerly despair, because I wrote 0 on any writing project at all last week.
And you were sassy about it too.
I know. One day I'm like, I'm just not coming to office hours. I don't want to write. I'll sit in the chair. I refuse.
I'm just going to play my guitar.
Because really, and this is what I want to report. Now, I have not been writing books, but I have been songwriting like you would not even believe, and playing my guitar. It's like I have advanced in guitar playing, like it's bizarre. Now I still can't do an F bar chord, so I can't really call myself a player, I don't think, but I have learned to where I really can play through some of the stuff that I've written. And I wrote 3 new songs since quarantine has happened, and I'm like, dude, I'm a songwriter. And that's just true. So I have been writing songs. So I guess I have been writing. And so I just wanted to share that.
That's awesome.
I didn't even know you played the guitar.
I don't. I don't say that I play guitar because, well, I can play some chords and accompany myself. But I mean, I can't really sing and play at the same time. Like, I'm very beginner, but like, I haven't given up. And like, it's very strange because it's almost like God has stopped everything. And now I'm just like, well, what do I want to do when I could do anything? Because my husband and I are still keeping, like, when he was on the road, he just lived and I just lived, but now that we're home, sometimes we live together. So he's given me license to just do whatever I want with my time. And I just find myself gravitating to that instrument over and over and over. I'm not being pulled to my writing my novels or short stories, but I am being pulled to that guitar. And I don't know if it's a season or if it's avoidance. I don't even really care. I'm just happy because I like that now I can play the guitar. So hooray me, I guess. No
So
progress here, but progress here.
It's still progress. And
Agreed.
you're saying that how long until you do a jingle for our podcast?
Oh, that's fun. How about we just plant that seed and see what sprouts up from it?
Okay, planted.
All right. So the chat has been talking, and Maria is similar to you. She says, "My what's next? I would like to carry on with edits for my third novel, but I've struggled with motivation so much so I'm doing housework instead." Yikes!
That's bad.
That's
Yeah.
drastic.
She needs
even did-
intervention.
I even did weeding, which I never do. Well, weeding is
Maria.
therapeutic for me and Rhonda. So
Yeah.
Sage says that I have my first editing client, and I am so close to being done with Bloom. Good. Done, she says.
Done.
Jason.
That name is very enticing to me.
I know. I love that name for a book.
Wow.
Jason says, my what's next? Trying to finish another 5 chapters. This week will be a lot of emotionally charged scenes. Last night I started a scene and it was the first time I started getting emotional writing. Oh, that's actually, this is his first book. Right? Isn't that what he said before? And that's kind of a hallmark when you first write something and you get emotional with your writing. That's big. I remember those.
Man, I got
And then the characters take over and just completely change the story.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's also a hallmark of the first book.
Yeah. Well, Rhonda, what's up with you?
Okay, so what's up with me? I talked about that earlier. That's sort of what we're doing right now is writing
I'm
these
so
books.
excited for you.
Now
So-
that we've got this first one done, we are going to do a series. And in fact, we've already started. We're doing a mystery. We're doing a romance. We're doing a thriller. So they're more geared toward specifically the tropes and that sort of thing.
I'm just so excited because it's almost like you guys broke the seal on publishing, and I feel like now it's all just going to start flowing out. I'm so excited.
Yeah, because now KDP is not the big elephant that it was a couple days ago, and
somebody wants to know the name of your book so they can go buy it, Rhonda.
Aww.
Oh, okay. Well, the name of the book is How to Plot Your Novel, Plot Your Novel with This Workbook is the subtitle. I wanted to show you a couple pages that are in it.
Can you get us? If you get us the link too, we can also share that on Twitter and around, so everybody can look for that later.
Well, if she's trying to look at something, can I just share real quickly? My oldest daughter passed her driver's test.
Yay! Oh, I'm so
she
glad.
was out doing it while we were having the podcast. So I wanted to give Riley a big shout out. Mommy's proud. Good job, girl.
Good job. We're all proud. I'm not surprised. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this. So this is a device page. You know, you've got devices in your novels, and when you're fleshing out your characters, it's just
nice.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm not going to show you every page in here, but as soon as the podcast is over, this is what we'll do. Anybody who wants a digital copy, which is going to be a PDF, it's not an ebook, so that you can print it out. You can print as many pages as you want. Right now, the book has 132 pages, I think. And you may not need all those scenes or whatever, but right now it's set up. So if you're doing your basic 33 chapter, 3 scenes per chapter type of thing, all of the sheets that you need are already in there. So anyway, we'll send the PDF to anybody who wants it digitally within an hour of the show today. So just message me on Facebook and send me your email address you want the PDF to go to. Or if you want a printed copy, tell me that and then send me your address and I'll do
Okay.
that.
So to clarify, to make sure I'm clear on this, anyone who chatted with us today live,
Yes.
and who responds within an hour to where again? Your Facebook page?
Well, if they want to go to the Christian Indie Writers,
Okay.
well,
Yes, that's fine.
I
That's
think
fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm friends with
Yeah.
everybody on here. Yeah.
You don't have
So
to
they
be
can go
friends. You just have, anyone can go to the Christian Indie Writers Facebook page, and then message you, right?
Mhm.
So
Message.
send a message through Facebook, and then tell them tell you if they want the ebook or they want the printed or the
Believe
PDF.
me, believe me, none of the rest of us will look at it. We promise. Like we really do not care. Like no offense, we don't care where you live.
I ain't got time for that.
We barely have time to do the podcast, right? Oh
Awesome.
goodness. All right.
But I'll have you also send me the direct link to the book too, because I would also like us to start promoting that for you as
Sure,
well.
yeah.
So
Yeah, that'd be great.
we'll have that all over social media.
So do we
Sweet.
get a PDF copy too, or just the listeners?
Well, you chatted, so you get one.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
did chat,
You're in the
Tina.
I
chat.
did.
Jamie
I
and
did
Jennifer
put
do
something in
not
the
get
chat.
one.
All right.
Oh, I
I
better hurry
chatted
up and figure out how to chat.
Yeah, I chatted as a Christian Indie Writer, so I should get one.
Oh, yeah.
That was me.
No, yeah, wink, wink.
Okay, well, I think that's everything for today. We are so far over
my
today.
gosh,
Thanks
we're
for
so
sticking
late.
with us, guys.
Yep. All right. Well, I guess let's just wrap it up. We are the Christian Indie Writers, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.